ABC Listen. Podcasts, radio, news, music and more.
How quick will he be? He's stretching away now. Isn't he beautiful to watch? He did switch off. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Have a look at this. Is it legal? The wind reading we're about to get. He switched off, did not tip, and he has run something extraordinary.
There is hype, and then there's Gout Gout. Over the last year, watching the teenager run has become appointment viewing. Whether it's World Juniors events, winning against grown men, posting insane, incredible times at high school meets, even when he lost quirky events like the Stall Gift, Australia has voraciously consumed every glimpse of this magnetic talent. Well, next week he's taking those talents to the world champs in Tokyo. The big fish from this small pond is going to be swimming in a much bigger ecosystem. And with that context, what is a reasonable expectation for the one-man hype machine? We're asking Bruce McAvaney. I'm Patrick Stack. This is ABC Sport Daily. Bruce McAvaney has called a lot of athletics across his broadcasting career and will be commentating the World Champs for SBS. He's here to talk Gout Gout. Bruce, you've seen a lot over the journey. What is it about this teenager that catches your eye, that you enjoy watching?
It's a combination, I guess, Patrick. I mean, it's the results. They speak for themselves. You know, at 16 years of age, he breaks an Australian record that was very famous, set in 1968. So that captures everybody's attention.
First race as a pro in Europe, this from Gout Gout. Now he's got a target. Menya moving away from him, Morizzi in the headband. A battle between these two. And Gout working so hard to get to him. And he gets there. Gout takes it by a metre and moving away. 20.04.
It's his style. It's the way he runs. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but he actually looks really fast. Now, some runners, you know, when you see the time, wow, they're quick. He just looks perfection, doesn't he? When you see him run, he's like a gazelle.
The strongest part of his race is always that last 50. He holds his form so well. It's an optical illusion. It looks like he's accelerating, but he's not. Nobody does.
And, you know, his personality, we're getting to know. He's a 17-year-old now who's doing year 12. We love his story. So it's just a combination of a whole range of things. But I think it comes back to the talent. We haven't seen anybody in our country with as much raw ability at his age as a sprinter. And that's, you know, I go back a long way. I've never seen anyone like him. So we've eyes open and can't wait to see what he's got for us in the future and for himself.
So much excitement for this meet in Tokyo where he's running the 200 metres. I was speaking to his team about that event and just how much the lane draw is crucially important to his chances. Can you maybe help us understand why it is so pivotal in this particular event?
Well, for a long strider, and Gout is a long strider, you want an outside lane. When I say, you probably don't want the outside lane necessarily, but you don't want to be in lanes 1 or 2. You would prefer to be in lanes 5, 6 or 7. Now, I know Gout's been trialling and doing some time trials from those inside lanes in case he gets drawn there, because it's a bit random and it absolutely depends on how you run in your heat where you get drawn in the semi-final. So he'll be very aware of that. So I think the ideal draw for him would be 6, 7 or even 8. It gets down to a bit of that. Now, the other thing is also, where are your main rivals? Because if somebody's drawn on your inside and they run past you on the bend, you know, it can give you a huge shock. Sometimes, you know, if you're inexperienced like Gout, it would be lovely to be out wide so that they never actually get up to you. So there's a whole range of things in the 200 metres. It's not tactical as such because it's all over in 20 seconds, but there's a lot of mind games that can happen in that period of time. So for him, an outside draw will be perfect.
Excitement in Australia is absolutely sky high, and when you consider his fastest legal or official time of 20.02, he's the 20th fastest in the world for 2025. I just want to understand from someone like you, what's a reasonable expectation from Australian sporting fans here?
I think for him, let's say if the conditions are right, for him to run inside 20.15, anything from 20.15 down, he won't be happy with that. But I think that's a realistic expectation. I think he's capable of breaking 20 seconds at this championships. He will need to do that. So that's the first thing I look at. What time can he run? And then where does he finish? He'll be very disappointed if he doesn't make the semi-final. He will expect he can make the final because he thinks like that.
100%. I believe I can go faster than I believe I can go real fast.
I think he will make the semi-final, but you don't know, Patrick. I could go through the other 86 Australian athletes, and I reckon give you a pretty good idea of where I think they might finish. With Gout, I'm uncertain. So he could be from anywhere in that final, in the mix, or run out in his heat. 20.15 or faster would be, I think, an exceptional performance for a 17-year-old, really at his first major, certainly senior international event.
He's been a big fish in a relatively small pond to this point. He's going to take on some really, really big fish in this meet. Who is going to be among the favourites for the 200 metres from around the globe, Bruce?
Well, a lot of these guys would have already run too, Patrick. They would have already contested the 100. So that can change things a bit. Either somebody can be very satisfied and perhaps, not be as hungry, or they can be exceptionally hungry going into the 200. And I'm thinking about, Noah Lyles in particular, because and Kenny Benaric and silly Tobago. So they're the three, because they'll all be a big part of the 100 metres. And that those events will all be done and dusted by the time we get to the 200. So how that plays out. Now, in Paris last year, we saw Lyles win the greatest 100-metre race, I think, of all time, and then got sick, got COVID, and finished third in the 200. But Tobago came back from that 100 and was successful in the 200. So how do they get through the 100? So at the moment, Lyles, Tobago, Benaric. There's a young Jamaican called Brian Lavelle who's run 19.69 this year, and he's run 9.82. He's fresh. There's a couple of Zimbabweans who made the final. There's a couple of other Americans, one that we know hardly anything about. And then there's some really seasoned runners like Jareem Richards from Trinidad and Tobago, Alex Ogando from the Dominican Republic, Zarnell Hughes from Great Britain. You mentioned, 20.02 gets you in the top 20, just that. So it'll be deep. Gout will, he'll be fresh. He's going to be waiting, and, it's going to be pretty nerve-wracking by the time he puts those feet in those blocks and goes. But he's going to have to run a new Australian record by some to make the final. He's capable. Nothing would surprise me in terms of what he can do.
Are you surprised that he's not running the 100, or does that seem like astute decision-making from Gout and his team?
Astute. It's a big, big ask. I think he will be absolutely world-class at the 100 metres. At the moment, he's not quite world-class. He will get there. The starts are the things that he'll work on. His high-end speed's enormous. But he's doing year 12. He's got a lot of things that he's juggling. He's already been to Europe for a quick stint, and that was very successful, those two races. I think, and like the relay, Patrick, I can't wait for Gout to join Lockie Kennedy and Rowan Browning now, who's back in the relay, in this men's 4x100 going forward. But I think it's astute from Di Shepherd and also from James Templeton, his group. I think it's a very good move not to burden him with juggling too many balls. It takes special, experienced athletes to run more than one event at these major championships. So I think they've made a very good move.
His team of James Templeton and Di Shepherd seem to have done a tremendous job in managing what is a really different and difficult dynamic around such an emerging talent. I just wonder what you think in particular about Di Shepherd, because she seems to be a character and they seem to be a kind of an unlikely pairing in some ways.
They are, and she's like she's like a second mum in so many ways because she's a disciplinarian. She's got a sharp tongue, and I say that with a real smile on my face because I know I've got to know her pretty well, and I'm very fond of her.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, you're a bit late, Mr. Hollywood.
Okay, to be fair,
No.
Jordan.
Don't blame Jordan.
She's got a good eye, and she's willing to learn, Patrick. I was very fortunate. About 3 weeks ago, I spent some time with Di and Gout and watched him train, and there was no one else around. And I had a long talks to her, and I'd met her before, obviously. But she's got a good eye, and she's willing to learn from other people. And that experience in the United States earlier this year, she got some contacts. She's going for the ride with Gout. She's not closing the door and saying it's my way or the highway, because she's really coaching a young boy who's becoming a man. So, and all the things outside of his running has changed. All the requests that he gets now, all the commercial opportunities. And then there'll be relationships and things like that. So I've been very impressed with Di. And James has got a lot of experience. David Radisha, Bernard Lagat, he's been able to handle champions from different environments and different backgrounds. And that experience of working with Di and with Gout, I think is it's telling, and I think we're seeing the benefits of it.
You mentioned Rowan Browning. Last week we were speaking to him, and he was explaining to us that there's a sense that Australian athletics is something of a golden age right now. You've seen the sport rise and fall and rise again over the journey. Do you see that, what he's talking about? And who else in the green and gold is exciting you for this meet in Tokyo?
I think he's completely correct. And this sort of happened from Tokyo 2021. Look, we're a bit unlucky, Patrick. There are three key members that won't be there: Nina Kennedy, Jemima Montag, and Lockie Kennedy. I mean, so it's a little bit of cream has come off the top of what is a fantastic team. What I love about what's happened is the depth. And we really, say even in Tokyo 2021 when the signs were there, we based ourselves on our female contingent and on field events. That has changed. We've got sprinters, particularly with the men, but also women. We've got middle distance runners, both men and women. Great depth there. The field eventers are still very strong, and the walkers have always held up their end. So I love that depth. In terms of who I'm looking forward to, there's a whole range, but I'll name 3 or 4. Claudia Hollingsworth, she's 20. She's the Australian record holder in the 800 metres.
And now Claudia comes to the outside and challenges hard. Caldwell and Hollingsworth. Hollingsworth goes straight past her. How fast will this be? It'll be an Australian junior record, you reckon? Yes, it is. She's inside 2 minutes.
Peyton Craig, he's 20. He's the third fastest Australian. I think he'll break 1:44 and probably become the second fastest Australian. Cam Myers, he's 19. He's the third fastest 1,500 metre runner and very close to the Australian record. Reese Holder, who I think has got a very good chance of breaking Darren Clark's 400 metre record, which has stood since 1988. And then there's that great group like Peter Bowl, who's running far better actually now than he did in 2021 when he ran 4th in the Olympic final. But the event has gone through an explosion. Nicola Ogleslagers and Matt Denning and all of those. So there's a whole range, Patrick. I mean, there's not a weak link in the team. They're all going with different expectations and different ambitions at a different stage of their career. But as one, they are a formidable group, a happy group, and I think we're going to be very proud of them.
Can't wait to see it all go down. Bruce McAvaney, thanks for sharing your thoughts on Gout Gout and an incredible meet that awaits us.
All the best, Patrick. A pleasure.
Headlines. Australian Davis Cup captain Leighton Hewitt has been given a 2-week suspension and a $30,000 fine for pushing a doping control official. The person in question was a 60-year-old chaperone, and the incident actually happened after Australia's semi-final loss to Italy in Malaga last year. Hewitt denied the charge and argued that it took place in self-defence. The International Tennis Integrity Agency rejected those claims and noted Hewitt has a poor disciplinary record, including 5 incidents of offensive conduct towards tennis officials. Now, the agency did accept that Hewitt did not know the victim was a doping official. The 2-week ban will run from September 24 after this tie with Belgium and before the Davis Cup finals, should Australia make it. What fortuitous timing. Essendon coach Brad Scott has spoken about captain Zach Merritt potentially leaving the Bombers.
He made a commitment. Players and a lot of agents are running at the moment with just sign long-term contracts, and if you want to move, we'll move you. Well, that's not the world I live in. The world I live in is you make a commitment and you see it through. Merritt
has 2 years remaining on his deal. That appears headed for conflict. Jess Fox won't be part of the World Canoe Slalom event in Penrith later this month. The Olympic champion was forced to remove a tumour from her kidney recently, and she's posted on Instagram to explain she won't make it back in time to compete.
I am itching to be back out there. And, I saw all my teammates and my training partners and some of the international athletes who've started to arrive. And, I have FOMO. I have major FOMO. But, I'm taking care of myself, and I've still got quite a few weeks left of my recovery. And I have to put my health and recovery first after surgery. So, unfortunately, I have to withdraw from the World Championships, and I'm absolutely devastated because it's a home World Championships.
That sucks. No sugarcoating it. Hope she gets better soon. I'm Patrick Stack. This is ABC Sport Daily, produced by Poppy Penny. Thanks to World Athletics, Australian Athletics, Fox Sports, Jess Fox's Instagram and Channel 7 for the extra audio used in this episode.
Discover more great ABC podcasts, live radio and exclusives on the ABC Listen app.